Alrighty, hello and good morning to you. This is going to be video 714. Uh, lucky me and you. You probably think I live on this chair, and I do. It's my reclining chair. But this video is going to be about an observation that I have made and was recently brought to my attention um, regarding trans women. And I do apologize. The channel is one trans in middle age, but it's my experience is as a trans woman, so that's all I can really relate to. Um, but I imagine it probably can be flipped on its head and would also apply to trans men as well. But we'll go forward with the trans woman. And the idea of it is about being a father. And so this really is only going to apply if you're a father, if you're a trans woman who's had a child. And I have heard, usually when you transition, a question is, well, what are a concern about before you transition is, well, what are my children going to do? Excuse me, adjust this again. There we go. What are my children going to do? How are my children, if you have children, how are my children going to, are they going to accept me? Are they going to like me? Blah, 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 blah. And so, we'll assume we've already crossed that hurdle. And, then it becomes, well, what are my children going to call me? Are they going to call me mom? I've heard things like Maddie, combination of mom and dad, or a different special name, something that's significant, Nana, whatever you want. um, or depending on the age of the child, they may just start calling you by your first name, uh, you know whatnot. And I think as part of transitioning, especially in the area of dead naming, we definitely don't like the dead naming. We don't like to be dead named. But I tend to think, you know, as parents, we need to give some latitude and some freedom when it comes to our children. Our children did not ask to be brought into this world. Our children did not ask to be born to a trans parent. Our children did not, they are, for lack of a better word, um, I'm not going to say a victim of circumstance, but they're a bystander. I mean, they're a product of us having children and then transitioning. And again, a lot of this is going to be unfortunately focused on how old you are, the age by which you were, your age and stage, obviously, but also the age at which you got your programming as a child. How old are you? What years were you brought up? What instructions were you given by your own parents and society to be a parent? But I'll circle back to, kind of want to go back to the idea of being a father. And again, if you're a trans man, you're a mother. And, I think we need to grant our children a wide berth, a wide latitude that maybe we don't give to other people. We don't give to our coworkers. We don't give to our bosses. We don't give we certainly don't give it to our family members and our parents. We expect them to call us by our chosen name and pronouns and all that. But I think our children are a very special subset of the world and our sphere of influence. We we really can't. I don't think it's fair for a parent to expect that their child call them a certain name or use gender stuff. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right either. Um, the child, I think, should have the ability to, call you with respect and dignity, of course. But you know, uh, I was a father when I brought my daughter into this world, and I need to fill that role, and that's kind of what this video is going to be about. I've heard different trans women speak and say things that kind of leads me to believe that, in talking with them, they think that, and I guess this really could apply to a marriage too, if you want to go that far. Um, you know, a spouse, uh, same thing. A spouse, when you got married, you made a commitment to somebody else, and so I guess what I want to say, although really the parent thing is more gravitas to it, has more weight to it. So let's stick with that. You know, it is not fair or right for me as a father to think that because I've transitioned that I don't have to fill that role in my child's life. And I think that's where trans folk kind of fall short, or it's where we can neglect our children. And you want to talk about, what will my children think about me? What will my children, what will they call me? How will they treat me, or whatnot? Part of that commitment to them as being a parent is that you will fill the role that you brought them into this world in for the rest of your life, and for as much as you can for the rest of their life. Obviously, in an ideal world, the parent dies before the child grows up and becomes an adult. That's kind of the way the circle of life kind of goes. And like I said, I've heard and I've seen, again, trans women who think that just because they've transitioned, it's like they say, well, I'm not a father, I'm not a man. They get kind of indignant. Shake your head a little bit, give me a Z snap. And I think that's an injustice to the child. And I think, again, depending on your age and your stage where you're at, you're going to see that come to fruition. And I can remember back to when I went to my ex-wife, my wife at the time, and said to her, I would like to pursue, you know, transitioning. I want to be, I want to live the rest of my life as much as a woman as I can possibly be. And I'm not expecting you to stay for it. I would like you to, but I understand if you feel the need to leave. Um, with a child, it's much more. It's different because that child is dependent upon you. Like I said, the child didn't ask to be born into this world, and so if we are going to transition and kind of become our authentic selves, we can't just say, "I'm not a father anymore," just because we're taking hormones and we look a little different. We certainly act a little different, as the the estrogen and whatnot rebuilds. Oh, that feels really good. Rebuilds our neural network up here. Yeah, it does feel good. Uh, you know, our emotions. Things that maybe as men or as boys we were taught. What was expected of us, and very stereotypical, unfortunately. what being a man is. And that also depends on your age and your stage and what you were programmed with. My dad was programmed with this kind of John Wayne, really macho, he tough, and you got to tough it out and be tough. And someone who maybe was raised, 10 years later, 20 years later, it's a different set of programming. You know, I imagine someone who's maybe raised in our contemporary times would by far be more open-minded as far as transgender stuff goes. But also, again, expectations, a little less binary, maybe even non-binary. It's okay for my son to do this. If my son wants to play with dolls, that's okay. Those kinds of things. I think it's in our contemporary time that's become more elastic, and we come to understand there's a spectrum of behavior and whatnot. But let's not get into that. What I'm driving at, or what I'm trying to drive at, is the idea that, again, if you are a parent and you're transitioning, don't think that you can just say, "Oh, I'm a woman now. I don't do those things. I'm not a father." That's not right, and it's not going to bode well for you if that's your attitude. You still have to fulfill the role of a father to a child, and I'm very happy to share with you that you can do that and still be a trans woman. Okay. You can still be a father to your child. You can still be a dad to your child and be a fully transitioned, full time in the world as a woman. You know what I mean? Um, it's possible, you know. And definitely as the child gets older, gets a little mature, especially in my situation, my daughter's a teenager now, and she's more concerned about herself and her friends than me, and that's the way it should be as she grows up and she becomes more independent and self-sufficient and on her own, and as she's getting ready to launch into her own life, then I have less and less of a role, but I still have to be a father to her, and that will continue for the rest of her life, the rest of my life. It doesn't change. And so, like I said again, Um, I think if you're transitioning or you're thinking about transitioning and you just think that because you're going to transition, you're no longer a father or a mother, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, there's a certain degree of responsibility, and probably what in one person might look at as a burden, another person might look at it as privilege. I'm honored to be a father to my daughter. And in my situation, I've been mother and father. Before I transitioned, I was mother and father because uh, my ex was not interested in being a mother. She didn't want to be a mom, in my opinion. Um, so, but let's not go there either. So I had to be mother and father to my daughter. I had to be both. And to this day, I still have to be father and mother. So like I said, if you're transitioning, please don't neglect your children. And a lot of that, I think, also too has to be with age and stage. If you're 20 something years old, uh, you have a lot of fluid. Things are fluid. Things are very malleable. Your body's very malleable. As far as what you can expect with the results of hormones and everything. And so I think probably it'd be kind of, again, you feel like you're going to transition and be this sexy little goddess, um, you can't negate your responsibility to your children. And I think I've seen a couple times, parents who go, trans women who go through a divorce, um, they really get railroaded when it comes to child custody because, we internalize that guilt, and, we almost agree to give away our rights and give away our responsibilities to our ex-wives because we feel guilty. We feel like we're doing something wrong. And I would admonish you and challenge you not to do that. You need to fight for your children, and especially in contemporary times, uh, there's no reason why you can't be a co-parent with your children. There's no reason why your children should grow up getting to know you. Um, but there, like I said, there may be some compromise. You will be their father, and it can lead to some interesting situations. I can remember my daughter when she was younger. Uh, you know, she would see something in the grocery store and get excited and say, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy!" And she'd come running down the aisle, you know. And here I am in my first year of my transition, and you've got that hypersensitive awareness, where you think everyone's watching you and judging you. You know, it's some funny stories, but like I said, that's part of that. And I have a couple friends who, like myself, kind of got the shaft, or as far as visitation and custody and everything. And I would just bring up to that once again. You can always go back to court. I've been back to court 4 times now. If you feel like you've been wronged or you can't see your parents, and maybe when you transitioned, you kind of gave up a lot. You said to your spouse, your ex-spouse, you can have custody of the kids and I'll only see them every Thursday, or I won't see them at all. Uh, it doesn't have to be that way if you don't want it to be. Go back to court, and if you want to, bring your kids into your life. It's going to be weird. I mean, look at us. It's going to be a weird situation. So anyway, that's my video. I'm going to stick to it. Don't have all the answers. Never said I did. I'm not perfect. I've made many, many, many mistakes. I'm still learning. Thank goodness we get to start every day with a clean slate, and don't beat ourselves up with why did I wait so long? What am I gonna do? Da, 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 da. Live your life the best you can with what you got. But again, I have to just remind you: if you're a parent, you're going to be a parent till the day you die. And again, I think we need to give our kids a lot of latitude. It's okay for them. Thank goodness if they call you dad. Thank goodness they want to be part of your life. You know, and I don't know. It requires a little extra. It's different than like a coworker, or the you go outside, you go to the grocery store, and you feel like someone not necessarily dead names you, but doesn't acknowledge or treat you as the woman that you feel you are. That's a different case than when it comes to our children. Um, and again, I can just share with you from my own experience. Um, be prepared for as the child grows up. Uh, you know, go to counseling together if you can, even if they're older. If they feel the need, or their happiness. I mean, as a parent, that's what you want. You want your children to be happy. Um, But be ready to face some unpleasantness, uh, because while we did such a great thing for ourselves, and in many cases we saved our own lives in transitioning, we also affected other people's lives unintentionally. And sometimes we cause distress. We can cause pain and suffering for our children, which again, as a parent, you don't want to do that. Unfortunately, it happens. You know, it's on the airplane. They tell you put the mask over yourself and then your child. Transitioning saves your life, and therefore you can be a parent to your child as they grow up, as they grow older. You know. Anyway, bow wow, said enough. Amen, Brother Ben. So till next time, good luck to you in your transition in your life after you transition. It's not over at transition. We know that. And good luck, and we'll see you later. All right, bye.